Hello. Let me make sure I'm good here. Hi, guys, and welcome to yet another episode of Solitaire Gems. Thank you to all who are joining me tonight. And if you're watching the replay, I just want to say thank you as well. So, for those who don't know me, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Jacinta Martin, and I am the creator of a blog called Fruitful Gems and also a podcast called Polished Gems. And I'm even the host of this YouTube channel, Solitaire Gems, as well. So, and let me tell you, if this is your first time with Solitaire Gems, let me explain what we do here. What we do here is share with you one nugget weekly based off of everything that we do here with Fruitful Gems. So, guess what our topic is tonight? Our topic tonight on Solitaire Gems, well, I am going to share with you one gem about how to have peace during the process by protecting your yes. How many of you guys could use some more peace about your processing? So, if you're just joining me, let me explain. For the month of October, we actually talked about new seasons and different topics about what new seasons, like how to recognize them. We even talked about what to kind of carry with you when you enter into a new season. So if you have not yet had a chance to go and look at those, I encourage you to go back and take a look at what we talked about with regarding seasons. Now, what as I mentioned tonight, though, we're talking about peace. God has been really on me about the peace that we need during our process. The reason why that's been a topic of his and something on his heart is because there's so many of us going through processing, right? So, for instance, as we go through different seasons, there are different processes that we have to go through to carry the weight of the season. Let me give you a prime example. What I mean by that is, let's say, and I'll use me as an example. When I went from becoming a mom to, of course, my first child, and for those who don't know, I am the mother of two children. When I became a mom, I had to go through processing. It took me a minute to get used to being a mother. It took me a minute to get processed to be able to even carry that baby. Here's what I mean. In the 9 months that it took for my child to grow within me, that was the time of processing. That was the time of the season to prepare me to understand that there's a life inside of me that's getting ready to come forth. And as I'm processing through those 9 months, how to have peace through those different types of process. So yours might not be a child. That's okay. Yours might be you need to write a book. And like I said, I'm using my life as an example so you can get concrete understanding, right? So yours might be a book in this season, yours might be a new business in this season, or it might be discovering your purpose and God's plan for you in this season. Whatever the case is, it's going to take processing to hold the weight of it. I even use real estate as one more example, just so you have something really concrete. Even from going from renting to becoming a homeowner, that's a process. I can even tell you, I remember when I first did that, yeah, having peace during that process, because it wasn't um, like a straight line, right? We always expect us to go from, renting to home owning. It's going to be one straight, beautiful, perfect line. That's not always the case. I remember we had some obstacles that we had to endure. We had some, just things that would pop up, right? Wrestlings in our mind of where's the best house, wrestlings in our mind of, making sure our everything was good with the financing, with the bank, with our jobs, that we would get approved, things like that. So that's what we're going to talk about for the month of November. We're going to talk about how to have peace during the middle of our processing, no matter what our season is, as well. So, guys, why do I do all this? Well, I teach people how to rebuild and to heal and even become whole in their mind, body, and spirit, because we need all three to be in alignment. Using the 9 fruits of God's spirit and the reason why I do this is just as I explained. I use my life as the example. God did it for me. God helped me through my process of even becoming a mother, into becoming a homeowner, into becoming a real estate agent, and everything else that I do. So, for those who don't know much about my background, let me also explain a little bit more. I have been blogging since 2016. I'm also a two-time author of two books, one called The Fragmented Soul, which is a novel, and another one, which is a devotional. It's a 45 days devotional, and called From Faith to Faith. And I wrote those because whew, I was going through, especially with From Faith to Faith. And let me explain what I mean by I was going through. I was rekindling my relationship with God. So that's why I wrote that one. And The Fragmented Soul is my journey as to why I have the Fruitful Gems blog. It really catalogs in novel form how we can go from broken pieces to being made whole through God. So, yes, if you guys are ever interested in that, check out our website. So, let me let you know how you can do that. Um, you can actually become a part of our Fruitful Gems family. We have tons of resources. When I tell you we have blogs for days, we have podcast episodes for days, and we even have Solitaire Gems where you can get your weekly encouragement. When I tell you we got your week pretty much covered with encouragement, with tips, with things to keep you motivated on your journey with God, we definitely have that here. So let me show you how you can join and become a part of our family. Let me just put this banner up for you guys here. This is it. So become a part of the Fruitful Gems family by going to, as it says, www.fruitfulgems, and that's gems spelled JEMS.com. Now, just a quick tip. Why is it called Fruitful Gems and with a J instead of a G? So let me explain. It's actually an ode to my father. My father named it's my initials as well. So my initials are JEM, and it's also what my father named his business out of. He named his business after, he named his business after Gems Enterprise. So it's an ode to him. Long story short, I wrote about it in a blog, but he passed away, I want to say about 11 years ago. So, guys, when I tell you, I'm no stranger to trauma and curveballs and life throwing things at you and having to overcome obstacles. So I want to encourage you. This here, Fruitful Gems, is here to encourage you to keep going in spite of the curveballs. Listen, sometimes we have to stop and cry, or sometimes we have to stop and just be upset or go through the processing, but we don't have to stay there. We don't have to stay in that mode. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So if you are just joining me, or if you're watching the replay, I got a question for you. So if you watched any of these, I have a question always, and I want you to place your answer in the comment section for me, because I actually go back and look at these. So here's my question for tonight's Solitaire Gems. It is, have you ever experienced a loss of peace from saying yes to everyone and every opportunity that came your way? I'm going to say that again. Have you ever experienced a loss of peace from saying yes to everyone and every opportunity that came your way? Guys, let me know in the comments. Let me explain even my situation. I've done that before. Plenty of times. So if yes is your answer, don't worry, you're not alone. If no is your answer, great. You have learned what we call boundaries. We all need them. So that is great. There's no wrong or right answer, but let me know in the comments what's yours, okay? So guys, if you see me looking to the side or if you see me looking down, I am checking out my notes for tonight because I don't want to be all over the place and I want to get you this nugget in a timely fashion. So, guys, as I said, I'm super excited to share this one gem tonight on how I can help you have peace during the process as you protect your yes. So let's go ahead and jump right in so I can give you even more background context about this topic. So I was sitting watching the musical In the Heights, and for those who haven't seen it, it's an amazing. If you're into musicals, right? If you're into musicals that have been made into movies, it is definitely a must see. I grew up as a child in high school doing musicals. I did plays and all that, so I really love. I love acting, love drama, stuff like that. So this was right up my alley to watch this musical In the Heights. So as I was watching it, I was reminded of the promises that God has shared with me about my life. Without giving too much away of the movie, so I don't ruin it for people, the overall theme of the movie was this. It's about people who live in a particular block in New York, who or area of New York, who work hard daily but have bigger dreams outside of their current circumstances or even situations. So in the season that I'm in right now, I could relate to the characters. As I was watching, I began just reviewing each and every promise that God gave me. And even currently, I'm working on some of those promises as during the season, basically. Just to give you guys an idea of what I mean by that, like even when I wrote my book, that was working on one of the promises that God had for me. He said I would write. So to write my second book, to write a novel, something that I've never done before, God showed up, showed out, and pretty much I saw that promise faithfully be manifested, right? As I put work in it where God asked me to put the work in it, right? But I've also left the rest up to Him as well. So, um, what I, what a lot of times when we're wrestling or not even wrestling, I should say the right word I'm looking for is working. When we're working towards the promises of God, because we always hear in the back of our mind, faith without works is dead, right? As we're doing that, sometimes we can get into this mentality of work, 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 but lose peace and lose self control. Self control is not always a thing of like, yes, self control includes stopping to uh, not overeat, making sure you don't do things over excessive. But we don't always equate that to working on the promises of God, especially when we feel desperate, right? So let me explain a little bit further just to give you even more context. Currently, my current situation is not as ideal as I want it, meaning it doesn't look exactly like the promise God has over here, right? God has shown me vision, He's shown me dreams, He's told me things in private and even had people to confirm, but I haven't seen all of that yet. I've seen bits and pieces manifest, but I haven't seen the full spectrum of the picture. Now, mind you, it takes time to get there, and I get that and I understand that. But when I've had a hard road to climb as a former prodigal daughter. And let me explain for those who may not know what that is. A prodigal son or daughter is one who either started in the church with God, according to the parable, lived with God, knew about God, left the church or left God, and then is finding their way back. So I'm that. I'm finding my way back with God. I'm renewing my faith in Him. I'm renewing all the promises that He said over my life and in my life. That has been a struggle for me from time to time during the processing. Because let me tell you, I went from being a married woman to a single mom, working a full time job while building two businesses on the side. And for me, all the while, all the while trying to take care of myself, my children, and everything else, it often feels like I am spread super, super thin regarding time, even resources, and many, many other things. I feel like I'm having to take $1 and make it stretch like 20. I feel like sometimes I'm having to take $20 and make it stretch like it's 50. Like sometimes it feels like I'm almost like, I'm living off of miracle after miracle after miracle. And a lot of times we can call that living off of from faith to faith to faith to faith, from glory to glory, right? Um, so what I want you guys to realize about that and what I just said is I felt burnt out. And here's why. My burnout was because I was saying yes to every person, to every opportunity that I believed lined up with where God wanted me positioned. Now, here's the funny thing. And I know I just chuckled. I did not ask God about each and every opportunity. God confirms his word. He tells us that in his Bible. But the beautiful part about that is we can always ask. What I failed to do was ask. I didn't even ask God about certain opportunities or certain things. I just ran. I was like, oh, if it's in real estate, I can do it. If it's in something else, I can do it. And God was like, I didn't say all that. Because seasons, right? If you go back to the one about seasons, seasons change. They're different. Depending on if you're currently in a season of rest and you're running around doing the most, then you're out of season. And you will feel it later for when the season of you're supposed to work, you're supposed to take the opportunities comes. You will feel it. So I'll give you another example. When I first got my real estate license, I found myself agreeing to take on each and every client that came my way, on top of everything else that I was doing, and would not stop to ask God if the clients were the ones that I was supposed to help. Because I feel like real estate is so intimate. And let me explain why. It's intimate in the fact that this is one of the largest purchases people are going to buy. It's more expensive than your car, it's more expensive than the clothes you might wear, even if you buy really, really nice clothes, even if they're designer brand name clothes. This is one of the largest purchases, especially if you're buying your dream home or your investment property or things like that, right? God is so intentional that even when we're doing things like that, He has a place in mind. What I mean by that is like a location in mind. He has everything in mind. He's so detail oriented. Um, and what I should have done was just ask God for help, but I didn't. I kept taking each and every client. And I could tell I was taking on the wrong ones when I was just um like the results seemed super hard to produce between them, between me, between it almost felt like we were just our gears were not in alignment, right? So I encourage you to examine wherever you are to see if you've also done the same. So let me also mention that it's not that I have a problem helping anyone or serving in any profession or work that I'm called to do, even when that's called to just being a mom, or even how I manage myself. But my problem with self control really lies in thinking that I'm going to miss God. If I did not say yes to everything and everyone that came my way, I was going to miss Him. Somehow, some way, I was going to miss Him. And I was like, he has such big promises for me that I didn't want to miss anything. Like who wants to get a promise from God of like, I've heard people say that God has promised them that they'll get married, right? And even if they're currently in a season of preparing for marriage before the marriage actually happens, it's the that processing period. They have to go through that to in order to prepare for the marriage that God wants them to have, not necessarily what they desire, not necessarily with them running with their own desires, right? Because a lot of times we do that. But I want you to also to understand is this: it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. I know that sounds so plain. And plain in the sense of we often think we just don't have room to say no. It's not until we start to feel the weight of frustration, where it looks like we're just spinning our wheels, getting nowhere fast, that we finally even stop to ask God to help us reevaluate if we even took on too much. Now, I remember my mindset used to be that I could rest when I'm dead. But I quickly realized that if I don't put more balance into my work schedule and even towards the goals and the promises of God, then that phrase might get closer than I think. Rest is essential, it's important, just as knowing when and how to work towards something. So, let me share this gem with you. Here's the gem. The one gem for tonight is be mindful of your time and season. I'm gonna say it again. One gem for tonight is be mindful of your time and season. So the Bible says in Ecclesiastes 3:1 in the Amplified Version, there is a season, a time appointed for everything, and a time for every delight, an event, or even purpose under heaven. Then verse 2 through 8 break down even further the specific times and seasons in our lives that can take place. It even talks about being a time to be born, a time to die, a time to keep silent, a time to speak. And as we journey through life, we must be willing to examine what season or even time that we are in. Because when we do that, we can better assess if we're supposed to work, if we're supposed to rest, instead of saying yes to everything and opportunity that comes our way. If it's not the season to do that, I promise you, scale back, create boundaries. But if it is the season to say yes to certain opportunities and to certain things, then be mindful of that as well. So I'm going to equip you with some questions, but I wanted to finish reading that. This is not the Amplified Version Bible. This one is the New International Version, but I wanted to actually read the rest of Ecclesiastes 3 for you. I think it's 1 through 8, where it says it. Just so, like I said, in all of these lives, I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to take God's word for it. So if you have a frustration with it, you can take it up with Him. And I promise you, and I'm not saying that to be rude, because even I do. But it's funny how when I look at His word and when I sit at His feet, He makes it more plain for me. So when I take up even a frustration and I go, God, today I said yes to too many people, I've been running around, He provides me with the solution. He goes, if it's to go sit down, it's go sit down because I need to rest my brain. Or if it's, okay, you can do one more piece of work, He'll let me know. I promise you guys, don't miss out on being intentional with Him and sitting at His feet. So let me read you this. It says a time for everything. And this is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 through 8 in the New International Version. It says this: there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. And real quick, I feel led by Holy Spirit to continue reading. So this is verse 9. Verse 9 says this: what does the worker gain from his toil? It says, I've seen the burden God has laid on man. He has made everything beautiful in its time. So I want to stop there. Guys, I encourage you to keep on reading to get better context, but I wanted to share that with you for this reason. As you saw, there's different times for everything, right? If you just look around your life, if you look around your family's lives and things like that, you've seen those times and those seasons. You've seen those times of good as well as bad. You've seen those times in your own life, right? Of things that were unexpected and you had to still grow through them. We've all had either really, really high seasons, sometimes really, really low seasons. For those of us, our low seasons have either looked similar to others or they haven't. But we've all experienced life where it was never a straight line. So here's what I want to equip you with. As I said, I don't want to leave you with just that. I want to leave you with some actual questions that you can go sit at God's feet and ask Him to help you identify what time, what season you are currently experiencing based on Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 through 8. So let me give you some. I have three sets of questions. If you have your pen and paper, I encourage you to write these down. So I'll say them slow enough so you can write them down and might even repeat them. So, question one is: God, am I in a season of tearing down something or building something up? Question one: God, am I in a season of tearing down something or building something up? So, guys, I want you to take a look at those questions. Um, Take a look at that question. Sit at His feet in prayer and ask Him. Actually, ask Him, and have a pen or paper ready. Have your phone. If you like voice notes, take a voice note of what you hear Him saying, and believe. Open up your mind to believe, and your even your heart to believe that He answers prayers as well in order to receive the answer to these. So, question two is this: God, is this the appointed time for me to plant something or uproot what was planted? God, is this the appointed time for me to plant something or uproot what was planted? And then question three. Question three is this, and I'll put these in the comments. I'm looking at these going, ooh, these are a lot. So even if you didn't write them down, I'll make sure to put them in the comments for you in just a moment here. Question three is this: God, am I in a time where I should continue to mourn that situation, or is it a time for me to dance? God, am I in a time where I should continue to mourn that situation, or is it a time for me to dance? So I just gave you three sample questions that you can use during your prayer time to sit and actually ask God. And like I said, say a quick prayer to even before that to say, hey, to say, God, I believe that you are answer of prayer, that you answer prayers. So as I sit here and I talk to you and commune with you, that you will answer me. I believe that you will answer me, whether it be by audible voice, whether it be by dream, whether it be by vision, whatever the case is, that you will answer me. And I promise you'll open up your heart and your mind to be able to receive after sitting there talking to Him in that manner. Now, as I gave you these questions, you can create your own questions. It doesn't have to be these three specifically. For example, I'll give you one life example. If you're going through a divorce, then question three could be a good one to use, right? To find out from God if you're in a place where you can stop mourning or and take the steps you need to move on with your life. Or keep in mind, God could go, yes, you need to go ahead and take therapy, or you might need a deliverance session where you are with someone with a godly background who can usher out removing any pain or residue left from those feelings or even emotions. And like I said, same with the therapist, to know who God wants you to talk to it with those trusted feelings, right? Because people can either help your healing or they can hinder it. So definitely, I encourage you, if you're going through something, definitely seek God, seek Him for the answer on what or how He wants it done so you can heal and heal properly. The other thing is if you're experiencing any life trauma, no matter your circumstance, please remember to be mindful of what time and what season you are in, okay? Because it comes with different emotions, and we just can't say yes to each and everybody. We must protect our yes. Our yes must be our yes, our no must be our no. And the way we do that is being mindful of the time, the season, what to say yes, what to say no to. And by though, if we don't know, we need to sit at the feet of God so we can get clarity. Guys, that's my time. I pray and hope that this gem for tonight has blessed you. To receive more gems, come back and visit me on Thursday night at 8 p.m. If you want to watch the replay, feel free to do so as well. But guys, I promise you, if you want to join me live, the beautiful part about that is I can also help answer questions, any questions that you have about what I'm talking about too. Or you can leave me notes in the comments as well. But guys, I just want to say thank you for your time. And hold on, real quick, I'm gonna put these questions in here from tonight because I want you to be able to have these. So give me one quick second. All right. I noticed it took the one down. All right. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure y'all have these as well. So those are those questions, guys. I know hopefully that came out looking good. If not, I'll go ahead and fix it later. But I just want to again thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you for taking a listen to this. Be sure to share it with a friend as well that might need encouragement to have peace through their process. That's what I'll be talking about for the rest of November. Join me next Thursday night at 8 p.m. on Solitaire Gems. Have a great evening. Bye.